Thank you so much, Ricardo. Our final speaker is someone who really needs no introduction.
I think Fred, you talk to all our mothers.
I get paid by the word now.
I think we should bring Fred everywhere we go, guys. You give this introduction. Look, I'm Matt Dole. I'm here on behalf of Team EO. We have Christine Nelson joining me today, who serves on the board of the Site Readiness Fund. So we are here to congratulate the city, the fund, the state of Ohio, for putting
17th. I'm calling the Utilities Committee to order. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Casey.
Present.
Spencer. Present. Bishop. Ray. Harsh.
Here.
Kelly. Present. Valencia. Mr. Chairman, you have a comment.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And can you please excuse Kevin Bishop, Councilman Bishop, today? He had an emergency this morning. Thank you. All right, good morning. Today we're here to hear one piece of legislation. Then we have a presentation from Digital C and the the audit department regarding the audit from last year, and then Digital C will give a quarterly update on 2025 and where they are. So if we can call the administration up to hear the piece of legislation before we hear the presentation. There's two pieces today, 1329-2024 by council members Casey, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request and emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Works on behalf of the Office of Sustainability to employ one or more professional consultants to manage the use of city-owned electrical vehicle charging stations or electrical vehicle service equipment and to charge fees relating to the charging stations and equipment. That's 1329. Madam Clerk, I want to let you know that we're going to table 1329. Right, now we move into ordinance number 503-2025. It's a substitute ordinance for number 1329-2024 by council members Bishop, Casey, and Griffin by departmental request. It's an emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Works on behalf of the Office of Sustainability to employ one or more professional consultants to manage the use of city-owned electrical vehicle charging stations or electrical vehicle service equipment and to charge fees relating to the charging stations and equipment, and authorizing the director to enter into various written standard purchase and requirement contracts needed for materials, equipment, supplies, and services needed to maintain the stations, including labor when necessary for the Department of Public Works. Directors?
Good morning. Thank you to the chair. This piece of legislation will, as you mentioned, give us the opportunity to charge and collect fees for the use of electric vehicle charging stations, promulgate rules and regulations for managing, and also allocate collected fees into a dedicated fund for by finance for the paying of the expenses and maintaining, upgrading, and expanding the EV charging network throughout the city. I have Director O'Keefe here from Sustainability, who works diligently in these areas and is here to answer any questions that you may have.
Director, you have anything to add?
No, I just have up on the screen, thank you, Chairman and committee members, the 4 locations that this piece of legislation pertains to. These are EV charging equipment and charging stations that already exist, have already been paid for, or are soon to be installed.
All right, and I know we had a robust conversation regarding this at the last committee hearing that you were unable to attend. So I have no further questions. Does anybody of the committee have anything? Nope. All right.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Go ahead.
There was questions raised to the director with regard to other city facilities such as water plants, CPP facilities, about the prospects of having those individual divisions or departments. Like I have WPC headquarters, I have Nottingham Water Plant, and there's plenty of room on the outside of those facilities, green space, or where you could do charging stations. Is there any thought about looking at some of these other city facilities?
Yeah, through the chair to the council member, we are absolutely looking at all of our city-owned
Okay,
properties
okay.
to understand what the best positioning is for EV charging stations at each of them. Some of them might be for fleet vehicles because they're behind security, like at our utility sites, for example. But other places, then we are also looking at those. These 4 locations will teach us a lot
Okay.
about what we can do, what the best pricing is that will be set through the Board of Control, and how to manage with a third-party vendor that has the expertise to do this work that the city doesn't have yet, but is working on getting in place.
Does, Mr. Chairman, to the director and my old colleagues, does the city have any EVs at present?
Yes, through the chair, the city does have a few EVs in its fleet, and those are fueled at here at a city-only vehicle charging station.
So what division or department are they assigned to?
Through the chair, that is building and housing, we have parking, and there is one more that I'm not remembering off the top of my head that are EV bolts. And then our utilities division, I believe on April 3rd, Director Kane talked about their plans for the conversion of fleet vehicles for the Department of Public Utilities is working on that as well.
So, and again, I won't belabor the point, Mr. Chairman, but the vehicles that we do have, it'd be interesting if you could provide that to us, how many they are, what models they are, what division or department they're assigned to, and is somebody tracking their durability and reliability? I
Yeah,
think that's
through the-
important.
Through the chair, absolutely, and we're happy to provide that information for you on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Real quick, there's no certification of funds required at this time for this?
Through the chair, no, this is going to be, Finance has put into place a revenue fund where this enables us to collect fees from anybody who pulls up at these charging stations. Those fees will be put into that fund, and they will be used to pay the third-party vendor who manages this system for us.
Okay, and then, I don't know if you can answer this or if we'll have to bring the finance department up, but in the old piece of legislation, it was fund number 10 SF 980, and this
Yes.
one is now fund number 10 SF 981.
Yes, so through the chair, I can answer that question. We worked with the OBM division to correct that. That was one digit off, unfortunately, so it should have been 1090-981 in
All
the
right,
first piece of legislation.
So 10
Nine.
SF 980,
One.
does it even exist? Does 980 exist?
81 is what's in the legislation.
Right, so once
81
this
will-
passes, then we create that. We reserve the number for them now.
Okay, so the old piece of legislation had 980, this is 981. Does 980 no longer exist?
That already existed for another purpose, that was assigned for somebody else, so.
Okay, so that was just, it was an error,
Yes, it was
okay.
a-
All right, Councilman Harsh?
Thank you, Chairman. Just a question about 981 and spending funds from it. But thank you for cleaning this piece up. This is much neater and cleaner and easier to understand.
My pleasure.
So through the chair. So I understand that this is a grant with NOACA and that this is money coming into the city, and you're not here to ask for funds. But the legislation in Section 7 does give you the ability to purchase to make purchases and/or obtain services and may enter into one or more contracts with vendors selected through the cooperative process. So through the chair, how much do you expect the city to spend on this out of city funds, not grant or partner dollars?
So
Through the chair.
Yeah, through the chair to the council member, the fees that we collect from users will pay for all of the expenses for the operation and maintenance of these charging stations. Section 7 that's in there that allows for the contracting of purchasing. What we had to do in there is to allow for the Department of Public Works, if necessary, to purchase parts. And so that's different from the vendor management. So that's why you see that there.
Okay. So, and I understand that 981 is, through the chair, I understand that 981 is where we're going to park the revenue from this as well as spend money to support this.
Correct.
But I guess my question is, I like not to exceed clauses. What do you believe, through the chair, it would be the maximum amount that the city would need to invest in this project for it to be successful over the course of 3 years?
So through the chair to the council member, we won't be investing money directly into it. We will be working with the vendor to set, and our Board of Control, to set a competitive price for the actual service that we're providing. And we will look at, I have a couple of maps,
I guess I understand.
looking at the charging around, we're looking at the costs around us to set that price. So I can't give a not to exceed cost because we're not asking for funding for it.
Okay, so we set the price, that is known, and somebody drives their car into the charging station and destroys it, and we have to replace it. Through the chair, what would the cost of that replacement be?
So through the chair to the council member, depends on the damage, but a charging station typically for a part can run from like $300, for example, if one part is malfunctioning. If somebody damages a piece of equipment, just like any other piece of equipment, we would evaluate that with the vendor. A full cost, this has not happened before ever, but if somebody were to completely destroy an charging station, that's about $5,000.
Okay, and so there's going to be 4 of them, and we're going to operate over the course. This is a 1 year with 2 renew options, right?
I think it's a 3 year with two, through the chair, a 3 year with 2 options, 1 year 2 1-year options.
So a total of
remaining.
5 years is what
Yes,
we're looking
correct.
at. And so if we had to replace each one, it would be $20,000 a year. So if we put a not to exceed $100,000, that would more than cover any potential cost that we could encumber catastrophically
So
through the chair.
through the chair to the council member, I don't anticipate that we would have to replace every single EV charging station. There are 5 charging stations, 2 ports at each charging station. There are 4 locations, but 5 charging stations
Yeah.
overall. And I would anticipate we would not need to do that and to have a not to exceed cost on that, placed on it.
Understood. So we'll cut it in half. How about not to exceed $50,000?
Annually? Through the chair, sorry.
This is a 3-year with 2 options. So this is a total of 5 years.
So, can I have a point of privilege?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So let me ask you this. If, we'll just say these charging stations only raised $4 in the year, right? That means you only have $4 to spend, correct?
Through the chair, that is correct.
And then if somebody hits one of these, the city's not going to be coming out of pocket anywhere to replace it because you don't have the money.
So through to the chair, we will have because the charging stations are already paid for.
Right.
Right now, if we didn't have the revenue to pay for the fixing of them,
we're
that
not-
is, yeah, that is correct.
Then you're not doing it. The only way you can spend money is through the revenue that is generated from the EV charging stations, correct?
That's the main source of funds that we would use, that is correct.
Okay, so if it raised $1 million in a year, you would have $1 million to spend. But if it only raised $4, you would only have $4 to spend.
I understand that, Chair, but if we could also transfer money into that account.
So
I mean, the account isn't just restricted to revenue raised through the project. I'm just not a big fan of giving the administration blank checks.
No, I
Is what
understand.
I'm trying to figure out what is the ceiling on how much we would possibly need, and let's put the ceiling into the legislation.
So if we could have the Director of Finance come on up to the table, please.
Sure, and while the director's coming up, if I may, the idea behind this fund, if we were to raise $1 million, let's say, through this fund, the funds in 10981 would be used, let's say, Canal Basin, we have 2 right now, spots, right? If they are so used that we have a lot of money and we're making that much money, we could expand at that location to
Sure.
do another one.
Right.
If there's a not to exceed on this legislation, then we would not be able to bring in the revenue to expand at that location.
Well, the not to exceed wouldn't deny you the ability to bring in revenue. It just
Okay.
denies you the ability to spend revenue.
Oh, gotcha.
Director, can the city, if the way this is set up now, can the city put any other additional dollars into this fund except for money that's raised by the EV charging stations?
To the chair, my understanding is this is only for the EV charging stations, and the fund was set up specifically for that.
Mr. Chair, that's the understanding, but we could transfer money into this account. We can transfer money from any account to any other account.
Yeah, I mean, through the chair to the council member, council does have the ability to move funds and to legislate things, so, but this fund was specifically set up for that purpose.
Yeah. So does a not to exceed clause through the chair present challenges?
So through the chair, let's say we set not to exceed at 50,000 a year.
Yeah.
And we could only spend 50,000 a year.
Sure.
I think that's within the realm of possibilities, that it would not restrict.
Right.
We don't anticipate making $50,000 a year on this, but I don't know that it would necessarily restrict us.
And anything over 50,000 requires our approval anyway, right? So if we put a
Correct.
not to exceed 50,000, then that's nice, neat, and clean. I don't know, do we even have something there?
Do you have a motion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to amend Section 7 to include a not to exceed clause of $50,000. It would be on line 6. At the end of process, replace the period with not to exceed $50,000.
For bringing in revenue. Through the chair, for clarification, a
Can't-
limit on, we cannot bring in more than
No,
$50,000?
you
No.
cannot spend more than
You can't spend more than
50,000.
50,000 without approval.
So if we were to bring in $100,000.
You
You're
can
cool.
you can bring in
Totally
as much
cool.
as you want.
Bring in
Okay.
10
You
million.
can't spend more than 50,000.
Without coming to council and
Holler at
saying,
us if you wanna
hey,
spend
we
it."
want to
Right.
expand because
Correct.
we've made so much
Yeah,
money
that
we
that
can
would be
have 3 more
a really good
charging
update for us to
stations.
have through the chair. That'd be a
Right.
really good update for us to know
Correct.
about if that was what was happening. That'd be really great. Huh? You prefer 100? Okay. Through the chair to the legal, can the amendment be not to exceed $100,000? At the end of section 7, line 6, replace the period after process with not to exceed $100,000, period.
Through the chair, yes. Section 7, just to be clear, deals with cooperative arrangements with other governmental entities. Were you looking at,
I'm sorry, I was looking at line 4, which says to make purchase and/or obtain such services. Not to exceed 100. Maybe it should go in line 5, unless I'm,
what do you mean, section 5? Is that where?
Section 7, line 5.
Section 7 deals with the cooperative arrangements.
No,
Through
it
the
doesn't.
cooperative process. That's,
Section 7 states,
are you
The
on
undersection-
508 or the old one?
I've got 503.
Oh, no, we're on 508. Oh, 503, I might be.
yeah, so section 7 reads that under section 108B of the charter, the purchases and/or services authorized by this ordinance may be made through cooperative agreements with other government agencies. The Director of Public Works, on behalf of the Office of Sustainability, may sign all documents and necessary to make the purchases and/or obtain such services, and may enter into one or more contracts with the vendors and/or consultants selected through the cooperative process.
Chair, if I may, I think that Section 8 might be the more appropriate section. Section 7 is about cooperative agreements with other governments, so that means that we can work on if the state of
Okay.
Ohio goes and sources
Yeah.
things. So Section 8, I believe, that's where the fund is mentioned and where the amounts of purchases and contracts
Okay.
is. I'm not sure. I'll defer to our law representative on that.
Sure. I think section 5 gives the authority
Oh, Section 5.
to enter into maintenance and operational services.
Okay.
But we could also put that
Okay, I
under
see.
section.
1, 2,
So
3,
section
4.
5.
It'd be
Section 5,
section
I think.
5, line 5.
If
Section
you-
5.
Yes.
After review.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so section 5,
Line
line
5.
5, at the beginning of the line, not to exceed
$100,000.
$100,000 exercisable with additional legislative authority.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Do we have discussion? Councilwoman Spencer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm a bit agnostic about this amendment. I don't feel, I would not have necessarily recommended adding it. I'm more comfortable with it with the $100,000 number, so.
It is 100,000.
That's what we're
Right,
doing.
correct,
Yeah.
but the original motion
yeah,
was for
yeah,
50,
yeah.
so I'm more comfortable at 100, but thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Section 503, 2025, as amended, stands approved. Please
Thank you.
sign up.
Okay.
This, if you can do that. And we need to go back on 1329, 2024, Councilwoman Spencer.
Thank you, Chairman Casey. I would like to make a motion to table ordinance number 1329-2024.
Do I have a second? Second. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, 1329, 2024 is tabled. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the audit report on Digital C. So if we could have the administration and anybody who would want to come to the table from Digital C is more than welcome to come to the table as well. All right, Director, you know that Digital C had signed a contract with the city of Cleveland to provide internet for all at $18 a month for 100 up, 100 down. They have goals and objectives that they needed to meet. They came to us with 2024 numbers. The city audited Digital C on the numbers they presented just to assure that we're getting the best bang for our buck. And I understand that that audit is now complete, and take it away.
Yeah, so to the chair, thank you for that. Yes, we entered into contract 2024-0009 with Digital C for internet subscriptions and adoption services that was performance-based. The audit was done. I have the Commissioner Brandt up here from Internal Audit. She did perform that audit and completed it March 28th, which was then, the results were then distributed to council. So we're here to answer any questions on that, and we have representatives, I believe, from Digital C as well that could answer any questions.
Do you have any type of presentation on the audit?
We did not prepare one.
All right. Can you
On that point.
go ahead on that point?
Is there a summary of the audit available through the chair?
We distributed a memo to the director and CC'd Councilman Casey. And basically,
Could have gotten it.
we only tested 2 areas that related to the numbers, and those were the internet subscriptions and digital adoption services. And our general sense was we tested, as far as digital adoption services, we tested on a sample basis the sign-in sheets that supported those numbers, but then tested 100% the addresses that were used as well as the names that were used in order to compile that list, in order to arrive at our results. And then for internet subscriptions, we had received the raw data and also reviewed the names and addresses to determine, and we did found one duplicate address for digital subscriptions, but that was 100% testing. Normally, our audits are on a sample basis, but because these numbers were so important for the payout of the dollar amount, and because subsequent payments would be in addition to these numbers, that's why we were so rigorous in making sure that these addresses were not duplicative. Yeah. We can make a copy.
Through the chair to the committee, if you'll allow, we have a copy of the audit for those that don't have it with them. We could have staff make copies.
It's on our tablets.
Thank you.
All right, so according to the audit, under the digital adoption services, IA identified 102 records that should be removed from the 2024 adoption list provided by Digital C. They include not City of Cleveland residents, 5 records, not City of Cleveland addresses, 4 records, duplicates confirmed by Digital C, 15 records, and likely duplicates not confirmed by Digital C, 78 records. As a result of removing the 102 records, the 2024 adoption list of 7,517 eligible records from the 7,619 records submitted, correct?
Yes.
And that's from the digital adoption, right?
Yes.
Well, we don't need to worry about the complaints from prior employees, do we? You put it in here. Is that an issue?
To the council, no, we just wanted to put that in there because I believe that they had also notified council of their complaints as well.
Okay. I did not observe any intentional manipulation of the data. All excluded records were due to errors related to manually intensive and decentralized process for collecting the information from outside partners. Some observed causes were participants' names spelled differently on sign-in sheets, participants provided different names or addresses, and general data errors, and there's no process to verify the participant residency and item provided for personal information. So, I almost said through the chair, but I forget I'm the chair sometimes. According to what you guys found in the audit? Were the numbers that Digital C provided the city good, verified? You guys are comfortable with them?
To the chair, yes. We had any discrepancies. We obviously spoke with Digital C and worked through any lack of data that they had.
Okay.
I know that when we first met with them, that there were plenty of other sign-in sheets and documentation that they did not use for this presentation to the city. So because of the lack of information, so they had scrubbed the information prior to giving it to us, and we felt that it wasn't anything that we felt was not genuine on their part.
Okay, and then in the audit's opinion, how many new customers were provided in 2024?
I believe it is 2801.
2801?
Correct.
And then the digital literacy, what's that final number?
It would be 17.
7517?
Correct.
Okay. All right, any questions from the committee? Do you have anything? Councilman Harsh.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. It's really important for us to take concerns seriously when they come in from the community. We in America have a whole host of laws to protect whistleblowers because it is such an important piece of information when it happens. In this case, through the chair, did you reach out to the person specifically who contacted us?
Through the chair to the councilman, we did. He ended up coming to the office and bringing another member with him, and they were there in our office for about an hour and a half answering questions and providing information. When we asked them to provide specific data to corroborate their statements, none was provided.
Okay.
So, but based on the verbal information that they provided us with specific information, we did not find any more subscriptions than would be allowed by the unit. So, they had stated that there were a retirement community, that the actual company for that retirement community was paying for those subscriptions, and then there weren't any more subscriptions than the number of units in that building.
Okay. We never know when somebody is, every industry is disgruntled. Former employees are often upset about the terms of their separation, but we have to take them all seriously. And I think it sounds like we did that. It sounds like we handled it appropriately. So I want to, through the chair, thank you all for looking into that and being able to confirm or repudiate the claims. It's very important for us. And getting a baseline of information about the adoption services is extremely important, as you said, to moving forward. This is a performance-based contract, so knowing where we're at and so that we can count where we're going from where we're at and have an accurate number, both of those is extremely important. So I'm thankful that we did this and took our time and handled this the way that we did. It seems like we did the right thing.
I want to thank the internal audit team. I know this is kind of a little unusual, the way this contract is set up and everything, but we appreciate, and I know that there was a lot of work put into this audit, and hopefully with Digital C providing us with quarterly updates going forward in 2025, when we go to do it at the end of 2025, it won't be as tedious maybe as this one was, or we won't be able to put in as many man hours, and hopefully we'll be able to just keep it going throughout the year. So we thank you guys. Any other questions? All right, well, we appreciate it, and we'll take your final numbers, and that's what we'll go with as being the gospel for 2024. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now we have a quarterly update from Digital C.
You're welcome.
Mr. Edmonds, we're going to ask you to move down this way.
All right.
You don't have to stay if you don't want to. It's up to you guys. All right, Mr. Edmonds. Your stone cold face today. It ain't gonna last long. There it goes. There it goes.
It's because I enjoy, well,
Okay. All right, so, Mr. Edmonds and the team, thank you guys again for coming down. You know what your goals were, 2024. We got the final answers with the audits. What are your goals, according to your contract, for 2025?
First, thank you for allowing us to be here once more. The goals for subscribing households, 4,700 households, and for the digital literacy training and adoption, it's 10,000 residents.
Okay. And then you're here today to just, it's, 4,700 new subscribers and 10,000, with digital literacy. And we're a quarter of the way through the year, so you're here today to just give us an update on where you guys are in the whole process. So take it away.
That's right. And I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce the team that's with me today. So to our furthest left, it's our head of install operations, Michael Kosmarski. Following Valerie Jerome is our chief marketing and communications officer. To my immediate left is William Nicholson, who's our head of network operations. To my immediate right, Marlene Piatek, who's our chief financial officer. Obviously, we know Ricardo, but then beyond that, we have LaDonna Norris, who's our director of outreach and education. And we have to give a really big shout out to LaDonna for the way that she was able to get those training numbers. She did a phenomenal job corralling the team. In the audience, we also have Shanoa Miller, who's our manager of government affairs. In addition to that, we are accompanied by community partners and Asbury Senior Community Center. We have Miss Angela Hill, as well as Miss Teresa Avery. And then from Metro Health, we also have Miss Marilee Santiago. When we look at our Q1, as you all know, the elements play a big role in Cleveland. This winter, while it might be milder right now, it definitely had its days. And I have to commend our team for the numbers that you are seeing in front of you. This was no easy feat, this Q1. Now, admittedly, we had some motivation in January. But regardless, being able to report that we do have 1,148 connected households in Q1. Now, obviously, we have more now, but just from January 1 to March 31st, 1,148 households. We have 2,458 residents trained. So again, if we look at those numbers that we said at the beginning, 4,700, we're at 1,148 in this first quarter. To date, we've exceeded, we're now over 4,000 households in this city. And the city also did do a survey. Because we need to do that. And that survey was done outside of Digital C. We didn't administer that. That was a random survey that was sent. And 87% of residents that we're serving rate the service that are being provided as excellent or good. 84% would recommend it to others. And 90% say they are receiving the speeds as promised. Now, I want that to be more of a benchmark. That's not, we're proud. Like, to be very clear, we're proud. We're proud of the team. We're proud to even be able to say those numbers. Many of you know Digital C's story. Many of you know it. And years ago, we wouldn't be able to say these things. So it is a point of pride, but also that's not our stopping point. It's just a really strong start. We're a sports town, as you all know. A first quarter and a strong first quarter doesn't mean we're going to win this game. So we're well aware of that. But being able to report the progress that we have thus far to date, I think that means something. But we also know we have 3 quarters in front of us. Now, admittedly, weather shouldn't be a factor, barring we don't have any tornadoes this summer. But in the event that we have tornadoes and eclipse again, we're going to have to figure out how to navigate. But again, we've gone through the harshest conditions at the onset of this year. And to be able to report the numbers that we have today, it's a point of pride, and I'm honored to be able to do that and honored to be leading such an incredible organization right now. Thank you.
All right. Anybody have any questions?
I do, Mr. Chair.
Councilwoman Spencer.
Thank you. This has been, first of all, I think, a great meeting so far, a great hearing in the sense of we now have a template for how we'll meet quarterly and share updates. So I think this is very valuable. I wanted to ask, one thing that really stood out to me when we met previously was that metric of connecting households. And I wanted to reaffirm and clarify in my own mind there's a nuance there. That metric is households that did not have internet service previously. So I wanted to restate that and confirm whether that my understanding is accurate through the chair.
Through the chair to the councilwoman, so it's two. So yes, one, it's households who were not receiving internet prior, or they weren't receiving internet at broadband speeds. Now it's the 100/20 for the federal standard. And then the second one is households who are on the Affordable Connectivity Program.
So both of those count towards
Correct.
the metric. Okay. What is then? That's interesting that came up through the chair. What is the status of the Affordable Connectivity Program now?
Through the chair to the councilwoman, Congress did not act to reinvest in that program. So the reason why that was the benchmark that was chosen was because residents who were on that program had a need, and the federal government deemed them subscriber vulnerable, meaning that if their conditions were to change just a little bit more, they would be out of their internet service.
Right. So this is why we're doing this, to fill those gaps and make sure our community stays connected and grows the number of those who are connected at the broadband speeds. So I'm just curious, as we go out, and I got really helpful material from Ms. Jerome, for my newsletter, as we continue to, people are catching on, right? More and more people know about this. Neighbors are talking to neighbors about it. So I'm interested in, do we anticipate, is there like a curve of some kind where we're early on able to capture a lot of those folks who are not connected? They're either former, what's it called? Through the chair. Yes.
Affordable Connectivity Program?
Yes,
Yeah.
affordable. So they're either Affordable Connectivity Program or they're not at broadband speeds. Do we anticipate that there's like a big kind of wave of those initially, and then it'll be harder to, for lack of a better word, identify those types of customers? Or how, are there any trends we're noticing through the chair?
Through the chair to the councilwoman, I would say right now we are definitely seeing a very large wave of people who are inquiring or just signing up for our service. While we've been able to average a beautiful average of getting close to 400 installs a month, if not exceeding that in some of these months, we're also booking probably about 620 to 630 installs each of those months. Now, the reason why those installs might not be happening, a lot of that, the number one reason is just residents not showing up for the installs. And that's just been a persistent opportunity for us to figure out how to best navigate that situation. But again, the demand is absolutely there. As far as what the future looks like, I really can't say. The one thing I can say, federally, as you are seeing the cuts that are happening, as we're feeling the pressure locally, it continuously reinforces the case for why we exist. And I would say that the constant is actually feeding us. Residents are really inquiring about this service, and being able to go from paying upwards of $70 a month to $18 is going to be an attractive offer for a long time, unless things here, change dramatically.
I'm also, though, curious, do you have metrics about, a number of my residents, I have a I represent a very, very diverse part of Cleveland. Anecdotally, there are a number of my neighbors who did have adequate broadband speeds that have opted to switch to Digital C because it's a great deal, right? Mm-hmm. And they everyone hates, no matter who you are, these monthly prices are exorbitant for internet. So a lot of folks who might not be captured in your metrics are also becoming Digital C subscribers. I'm just curious, for my own knowledge through the chair, is there a bigger number out there? So the 3,949 to date, those are a number that refers to the metrics we're discussing here for purposes of the contractual agreement with the city.
That's correct.
Is there a different and bigger number of overall subscribers that Digital C has currently? Through the chair.
Through the chair to the councilwoman, not really.
Okay.
If it is, it's
nominal.
really, really nominal. You might be talking about like 3,
Wow.
2. We've been pretty tailored with our outreach, and then in addition to that, tailored to when you're signing up for our service, we do inquire and ask that people verify that they either did not have the internet before or that they were on the Affordable Connectivity Program. What helps us with the Affordable Connectivity Program sign up is the fact that per capita, Cleveland was actually the leading city in the country on Affordable Connectivity Program signups. A lot of that had to do with the community organizing infrastructure we have in place in this city. And then in addition to that, you know, we take internet and the digital divide conversation pretty seriously here.
Okay.
And historically we have.
That's interesting to know. I think those are my questions for now, Mr. Chair. I might come back on. Thank you.
Do you want to say something? Go ahead.
You already took the mic.
I did. Through the chair, I would say that we are thinking this way too, proactively, and if we do see a groundswell of interest from, you know, non-contract eligible households, we're thinking about infrastructurally on our website, do we put a firewall or a paywall up if you did not answer these questions adequately to qualify for this contract account, if you will, then do we waitlist you? There's got to be a better word, but hey, we'd love to let you know if install appointments open up in the future, if we can accommodate you. But prioritizing households to meet the terms of this contract, we've been thinking about that if we do see a groundswell, because we only have X amount of install appointments.
Makes sense. Thank you.
All right, and on your presentation here, I see Ward 11, Ward 13, Ward 16, and Ward 17, which is basically the whole west and south, the southwest side part of the city have been newly lit, right? So you at least have one customer in every single ward. So my question is that can every single person in the city of Cleveland at this point now get Digital C?
To the chair, no, not yet. So citywide, 18 months timeline to build out the city.
June.
That's in June.
Right.
And so right now we're down to our last 10 towers that we have to bring up in this city. And so the last 10, when those are lit, then we'll be able to say yes, everybody.
And where are those 10 where do those 10, you know, I don't need specific addresses, but just areas or neighborhoods.
To the chair, mostly to the west side. We've pretty much accomplished the goal on the east, and we're moving forward with the completion of the west.
Okay. Councilman Polensek?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues, and to Digital C folks here. To follow up on the chair's line of questioning. In each of the, well, let me go back up to the top. So right now you've got 98,130 households signed up with Digital C, correct?
Through the chair, to the councilman, we wish. No, that's coverage. 98,000 homes are covered. Those are not signed up with us.
How many are actually signed? That's what I'm not clear on.
So we have 3,009, well, total, we have 4,200, over 4,200 households currently signed up. For the Q1 report that we submitted, though, we signed up 1,148 new households.
Okay, so again, I'm going to get this straight so the viewing public as well. So your coverage area within the city of Cleveland, you would cover 98,130 households, correct?
Through the chair, yes, that is correct.
Okay. And then actually folks that have signed up, you've got 3,949, and then you got 1,148, correct? Those are current add-ons.
For Q1, yes.
For Q1. So you have a total of how many actual customers?
So total actual customers, we have 4,200, and I believe it's 4,250 now.
Okay, citywide.
That's correct.
Okay, so then let's go back in that actual column. So number of households that did not previously or did not currently have broadband internet. Of your customers, then, that would be 614, correct?
For Q1, yes.
Yes, okay. So as we're moving down, okay, so pay customers on subsidy. When you indicate customers on subsidy, explain what the subsidy is.
Through the chair to the council. So the subsidies, we have various subsidies. So
Yes.
Cleveland Metropolitan School District being the biggest one.
Yes.
However, there is a subsidy that is still ongoing from the Cleveland Clinic Foundation that supports residents specifically in Fairfax.
In Fairfax, where they pick up a portion of the bill?
That's correct.
Okay, and how long will that last?
1 year, but it's already started. So I believe at this point it might be about 6 or 7 months.
Left?
Yeah.
Okay. So then, healthcare subsidy, what is that one?
Oh, that's also another one. Apologies. That's from Metro Health as well.
That's Metro Health, okay.
That's right.
And how long is that one in effect for?
Through the chair to the councilman, that one is actually expired. That ended at 12/31/24.
Okay. So then the number of customers, these are, again, in the blue column, those are actual customers that you have.
Through the chair, correct. Those are the Q1 numbers.
Yes. Okay. So in each of the wards, are you able to provide us the streets where you have a concentration of customers? See, I'm trying to understand the penetration, where you're having the greatest penetration and where you're not. And then, because you just indicated a moment ago that not all sections of the city are covered. So like on the northeast side, I'm trying to, again, understand what is covered, what isn't covered, and then, and then where would you have the greatest concentration? So are you able to do that by ward?
Through the chair to the council, yes, we will provide that information by ward.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, because then it tells me, if there's a bunch of customers on 172nd Street, then, what's taking place there? Is this through word of mouth? Is this through some other form of advertising or promotion that residents are signing up on one street versus another section of the community? Because, again, some of the numbers are very low across the city, extremely low, and then other wards have had seem to be an uptick. So I'd like to know what's taking place or what's transpiring. Have you done any direct mailing in any wards?
Through the chair, yes, we have.
In what wards have you done that?
Through the chair to the councilman, I'd have to get the exact ward numbers, but
Okay.
how we were approaching it as a tower was activated, we would take the serviceable addresses that that tower covered and direct mail those addresses specifically.
Okay, see, that's what I'd like to know, because, see, I'm not aware of any direct mail into my neighborhood. So I'd like to understand, and then you pay for that direct mail?
Through the chair, yes, we do.
Yeah, so I'd like that information, because obviously the other challenge I think that we have, and it's probably not just on the northeast side, probably throughout the city. When you tell people they can get internet for $18, there's skepticism, great skepticism. And I say that because we're living in a time and day, unfortunately, where our citizens are being besieged by telemarketers, by all kind of questionable. I look at my own emails, and then the phone calls. I must have a call every other day. Someone wanting to, do you want to sell your house? Is your house for sale? I'm looking at my emails. I'm looking at my my text messages. I'm saying, I can only imagine what people are being bombarded with, and so skeptical of everything today. And I know from the people who call me, is this legit or is this real? And I find myself trying to, I'm almost like an ombudsman, trying to explain different programs and initiatives. Yeah, it's real. No, this is not real. Don't respond to that. So what you can provide to us, where you've done the direct mail, and do you think you've been successful, or are you analyzing yourself what you can do differently? I'm like a lot of residents. I'm not on Channel 20. I'm not on Spectrum. I have Dish. So what are you doing? What are you doing differently? So how are you marketing? I'm assuming are you on Channel 20? Are you promoting your on Channel 20?
Through the chair, so we did have a TV20 interview with, I believe it was Mary McNamara.
Okay.
And that one actually got us a significant amount. But
Okay.
at that time, we were still waitlisting.
Okay.
And so now that these towers have gone live, I think it's a really great time to highlight. Last year, arguably at this same time, we reported 308 households. That's what we had total.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we have this 4,250,
Yeah.
we see that growth. And to your point, the skepticism, absolutely, that is real. We are all victims of these robocalls in Cleveland. And the number one metric that we see for success for customers being Digital C customers is word of mouth. Number one by far.
Okay.
And it's the neighbors who are telling them. Now, admittedly, we'll also, and giving a big shout out to Valerie on this, who leads our marketing efforts, the yard signs have been great. The minute we put up those yard signs, we see them almost like chicken pox. You put up there, then boom, and it goes down streets.
Okay.
And so the yard signs are incredibly helpful. Social media has been a really big push. Some of our local Cleveland influencers have stepped up and just been pushing the service, so that's been helpful. And then even us featuring residents in our storytelling, that then someone's like, well, I don't know I don't know who this Digital C is, but that's my uncle, that's my aunt, and
Right.
So the more we're able to just show up consistently in diverse means, I think that's why we're seeing the numbers we're seeing. But the skepticism will continuously be a thing that it's an opportunity for us to change people's minds.
It'd be very interesting, because I don't see anybody here from the administration, to see what the penetration rate. Oh,
Ricardo's here.
Okay, to see what the penetration rate is in the city of Cleveland with cable. Because, as I would say again, for them to go back on Channel 20, but I ride in my own neighborhood, you see all the dishes, the satellite dishes in people's roofs or in their yards. And so I'm just wondering what the penetration rate is in the city of Cleveland with cable. So it goes about your promotion, your advertising. How do you get across to those folks who are not watching it on 20, or they don't see the yard signs go up? I'm just trying to figure out, I hope you're analyzing what other avenues you can use to get your message across.
Yes, through the chair to the councilman. We are analyzing metrics on all fronts. When we do direct mail,
Right.
we have a traceable QR code, so we know how many people have scanned that code on the direct mail. The phone number is also traceable, so we can see the number of calls that resulted from that mail piece, and we can listen to them as well through the dashboard. Through email marketing, so the hundreds and thousands of people on the wait list from when we launched a year and a half ago, when that tower goes live, we have automatic workflows that sends an email and a text message to that person to say, hey, the wait is over, we can connect you now, and it's an invitation to schedule. So we have analytics through our customer relationship management system, our CRM, that gives us robust data.
So then I will not belabor the point, but if you could once again still be able to show us what areas of the city that you can't penetrate due to the infrastructure is not there, and then if you can put together on a ward basis, I don't know if everybody wants it, I want it for my own ward, where you're having success and where you're not. I put it in my newsletter, but again, I can't measure it because I don't know what, I'm looking at the numbers here. Well, I got off screen here. Let me go back up there. I'm looking at my own ward, 205. So I know there's some wards lower than that. There's some wards higher than that. But I'm thinking, I would have thought it would be higher in light of the fact that I put it in my newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what and we got what we put in the newsletter, the boilerplate stuff you gave us. Maybe you want to look at that again and maybe tweak that article where it's going to grab people's attention more.
Through the chair, we'll say for these numbers right now, we started building this network Q1 last year.
Yes.
So within 1 year, what we're seeing, everyone who's on this sheet right now is an early adopter.
Yes.
Everyone. And so we haven't even hit the bell curve yet where you really see this thing blow up. This is almost like we've now invented something new.
Yes.
And all the people who are now trying it, great, they're experiencing it, but we haven't even gotten to like the full meat of everything yet. So I would just contextualize this by saying this is 1 year of a network being built.
Yes. Okay. That's all I'm trying to do. All of us today, I'd like to hope, are more conscious than ever before in where we can help our citizens save money. I mean, believe me, I think it's more important today than ever before that we try to figure out, again, where we can help residents. So I'm directing people here, I'm directing people here on different programs and initiatives in my neighborhood. And I'd like to make sure that, that we continue that, and that's why with, whether it be utilities, whether it be, WPC, whether it be Regional Sewer District, I'm directing people into different programs. Because in light of what we're seeing taking place in Washington and in Columbus, concerns me greatly. Concerns me greatly. And especially with the number of potential federal employees that are going to lose their jobs. And they're going to be looking for the best quote-unquote deal as possible that they can get if they live in the city of Cleveland. And so I'm just asking you again, I think it's like anyone who's trying to sell something. If you're selling widgets, if you're whatever you're selling, you're always trying to figure out, how you can get somebody's attention, how you can hook that interest, how you can say, well, man, maybe I better look at that. So that's where I'm at. I want to see the program expand. I want our citizens to take advantage of the low-cost service. Because again, most of us that I still am on a private service, those of us who have private service outside of this, we're still paying in excess of $80 a month.
Yep.
So I think about that all the time. How many people can benefit through this? So I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Edmonds, when did Digital C connect their very first customer? Do you remember?
To the chair, this is very distant memory at this point.
Does anybody remember? I'm just curious.
Are you saying like very?
Yeah.
Like, there's like two types of digital. Which digital C are we referring to?
We're talking about the current Digital C.
On this contract.
Just in both, just in general and the contract.
All right. Well, if it's the current Digital C, it will be January last year.
2024.
That's correct.
Okay, I was just wondering. Councilman Hart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just a couple things. But first off, contrary to anyone's opinion, I'm very excited to see this progress. This is exactly the type of ramping up that we wanted to see. This is exactly the type of numbers that we were hoping to see you all hit. And I'm really encouraged and excited that you're here at the table today, reporting that you're basically on track. You're right. Bad weather starts off our season. The connectivity season should be Q2 and Q3. And hopefully you guys can even get ahead of that to deal with the Q4 slowdown and new connections. But this looks like exactly the pace that we all talked about a year or two ago, whenever it was, and the type of progress that we were hoping to see. So this is all very, very encouraging. And on the same vein, you alluded to it earlier. There's over 2 decades of history to the organization, and you all are putting a new face on this, and you're really sort of changing the state of Digital C in the city of Cleveland, and it's all very encouraging to see. So I'm excited about that. I do have a couple of questions, obviously. I think that the Chairman Casey was kind of getting at it. I watched the video you all sent out where you said you had no customers in January of 2024, and we just know that's not true. You had 2,000 customers in January 2024. So through the chair, why are you claiming that you had 0 in January 2024?
Through the chair, we believe that those customers were on speeds that weren't actually at contractual speeds here. So it's like, while they might have been customers, they weren't customers that we would be able to report at this table. In addition to that, they were not even on the network that we have today either. So effectively, we built an entire new network, and we started from 0.
And so some of those transitions, you're sort of seeing them as new customers, even though they just transitioned to the new network. Because their experience is different.
So when you say just transition, that makes it seem like we could just put someone in a spreadsheet and move them. No, these are significant technology upgrades that are made. It's a completely different experience.
You had to go back out to their homes and give them new equipment and set them up on the new network so that they could get the speeds that people are expecting.
Absolutely.
I see. When I saw the video, that was the first thing that crossed my mind. I'm like, wait a minute, we know they came to the table with 2,000 customers being on the old network, and the video sounds like you went from zero, absolute zero, to 4,000 in 13, 14 months, whatever that was.
I mean, on this network we did.
On this network went from zero to that.
That's correct.
And some of those were existing customers that you transitioned to the new equipment, the new network, and now they're part of the 100-100.
That's correct.
I see. Okay. Okay. So through the chair, we've always tackled this from day one as an effort, an attempt to bridge the digital divide, because we know that in America, lower income communities and primarily communities of color have less access to high speed, high quality internet access than wealthier communities. And I'm curious, as you start to transition into some pockets of Cleveland where we have more middle class communities and your expansion grows, what is your plan to make sure that your customer base in wards 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 remain not the focus, but remain vital to your growth and expansion? It becomes easier to pick off people on the west side that can save money but always had the money than it is to get more and more into Ward 5, where you've got some of the lowest income communities in Cleveland, right? What is your plan to remain focused on that digital divide as the more financially stable markets in Cleveland become available to you? Through the chair.
So through the chair to the council person, the point is absolutely heard, and it's something that we do think about. The one part that I think this contract uniquely, I wouldn't say forces us to do, but uniquely requires us to do, the residents not having internet access, or the residents who are on the Affordable Connectivity Program, if we were to compare Ward 5, and specifically when we look through Outhwaite, Carver Park, and those areas, we know that's 100%. So from just a sheer numbers game and a performance-based contract, we have 23,500 installs that we need to do, 23,500 households. So while we're proud to report what we have today, we have to continuously make sure that where we have those pockets, we're maximizing our time. We said something at the beginning too. We don't have the ability, for example, to look at a certain part of the city and it's a street of maybe 40 homes. Of those 40 homes, 5 of them might meet the criteria to actually count. Whereas in Ward 5, specifically in certain pockets, it's 100%. So from just a sheer numbers game and efficiency of getting this contract, we don't really, it wouldn't be wise for us to move on from the areas where we know we would get the greatest amount of probability of a connection. And the reason I'm saying probability of a connection, because again, people have to show up for their installs. But yeah, we, from just a sheer performance-based contract standpoint, it makes the most sense for us to prioritize those areas as well.
Yeah, and the reason, Mr. Chair, that it's a fascinating problem is that the other internet providers, and I'm sorry, unlike Councilman Polensek, I cut my cables in the 90s. I haven't had satellite I've been on the internet for 25 years, and the internet's been my only source to information in the world, and I haven't had a cable or satellite in 28 years. But the big providers, the big telecom, have avoided these neighborhoods because there wasn't money to be made there, and they make their money in the neighborhoods where people have, $80, $90 a month for internet bills. And even in my neighborhood, one of the big ones is just now getting around to advertising fiber in Old Brooklyn. They're kind of starting to come into it. I even across the street, I still don't have access to it, right? But it creates a financial chicken and egg issue where you make your money in this neighborhood, but the neighbor that needs your service is over here with less money to be made. So I guess my question is, I would assume that through the chair, as you sign up more people, particularly on the west side, your monthly revenue goes up. From people paying regular subscription rates.
Through the chair to the councilman, $18 a month is interesting to have a conversation about revenue with that number.
Yeah.
But to your point, payment stability and just receiving recurring payments, I mean, absolutely we will see a greater probability of that happening in maybe more affluent neighborhoods. However, we just can't sign up everybody either. I mean, we have 23,500 that have to count. Even just from sheer numbers alone, if we were to say, you know what, we're going to work on, with our right hand, we're going to do everything that this contract tells us, and we're going to make sure we're satisfying that. But with our left hand, we're going to go after these other customers. We don't have this size of an organization to do that. And so ours right now is like, no, we're going after residents who fit the criteria for us to be able to make that count, because we would get far greater money in this contract by doing it that way than trying to like stack on $18 a month subscriptions over here. The numbers don't even work like that.
But you're not,
Please.
but you're not ignoring those individuals. And they can still, for example, I have internet at home already, right? I want to get rid of my internet. I want to go with Digital C. I may not count toward the contract, but I'm still offered the $18 a month, correct?
To the chair.
I mean, I wouldn't count for your contract
It
numbers.
doesn't count for the contract. Now, to say, are we ignoring? No. I think that what we would do, again, is we are prioritizing significantly the residents that absolutely count for this contract. Now, but we have had residents, like I said, where we have connected them, where it's like, hey, okay, we're right over here. Great, this person's in need. Now, this does raise something to this council, just a point that could be made. We have to remember that the Affordable Connectivity Program was a pandemic program. Every day that passes, we're getting further away from the pandemic. And so if someone moves to this city who might not have been familiar with the Affordable Connectivity Program, but they had internet, they want the service, they're even in need. Well, I wasn't, like, we technically don't count them. And I think that's the part where it's like, at some point, the further we get away from the pandemic, the less the ACP stands as like a qualifying barrier, like metric. So that's, I'm raising that just for consideration for us to think about. But again, how we have it now, it works. And again, as we see residents in need, we're connecting them. Like, we're not going to tell a resident no who we clearly see needs this.
Okay, so what about those who don't need it but want it?
This is a prioritization matrix now, where it's like we have residents who absolutely need it. So we're going there first, and then as we kind of triage down, as we have residents who are like, hey, I would really like to have it, and they're really, really well off, they're not our target or ideal customer today.
I think if I jump in here, Mr. Chair, I think that this is a good thing. I think that the way that we incentivize this contract and the way that you helped us draft this was to prioritize the unconnected over the connected. And financially, they're better off doing that and remaining focused on that contract. I think that's actually a benefit of the way that we structured this with them, a year and a half ago. Is that roughly the right? When you say the matrix you're looking at, you actually stand a more financial gain to connect the unconnected because of the way we structured this contract.
That is correct.
But if somebody in West Park or Old Brooklyn wants to switch over to your service, you'll get out there. You'll get to the customer. You're not going to say no, but they might have to wait a week or a week and a half. They're already connected. You're going to remain focused on the people that are getting connected for the first time first.
Absolutely. And to that, through the chair, absolutely. And to that point, again, just from sheer numbers, I mean, the audit was absolutely intensive.
Good.
We received questions around New Year's, and the audit, concludes towards the end of March.
Yeah.
So I mean, roughly, it's a quarter of just questions and making sure that we are just incredibly diligent, even all the way down to the subscriber information, and nothing personally identifiable, of course. I'm saying that to say that with that level of detail, we now know that if as we're connecting residents, we have to make sure that we are connecting residents that count for this contract.
Right.
Like, I cannot overstate that point enough. We don't have all the bandwidth in the world to send teams to connect people who just don't count in this contract. Again, we're not going to tell people just straight up, no, we'll never connect you. But as you are hearing us say, there are 600 to 700 people who are signing up for our service a month, now getting installed. Again, they're not showing up to the install appointments, but we are seeing a massive need of people. And so, like, those are the ones that we're prioritizing first. If there are pockets or there are things where someone signed up and they really want the service and it works within our scheduling, then we'll do that. But again, from a prioritization standpoint, with the amount of people who are expressing severe need, this digital divide, we are seeing it very, very real in our face right now.
I think we're right where we should be, Mr. Chair, because I mean anybody can dream big, right? Anybody can fathom big pictures and you know, imagine wonderful things, but it's much harder to walk that talk. Much harder to walk the walk than it is to talk the talk. And it seems like the audit is very, very important because we do need to make sure. It would be extremely easy for somebody outside of an audit to, you know, throw numbers out there and make claims. And I'm glad that the internal audit took the time to do that because we do need to make sure we succeed. And it's also worth mentioning and reminding people, anybody that's watching this, this was the single largest allocation of ARPA funds to one organization. We put $70 or $80 million into housing, but that's a whole bunch of different places and people and things. This is the single largest allocation to one organization in all of ARPA. So making sure that this is actually succeeding for the people of Cleveland is a really, really high priority for all of us. And it sounds like we're getting there. And it sounds like, you know, as rocky as this road might have been, it sounds like we're starting to pave it. And it's getting a little bit more smooth, and eventually we'll be able to race NASCAR on it.
Sorry.
Yeah, right. You got me in that one. Okay. One last thing. I know the last thing I want to ask is I know that a large part of your ability to offer the $18 service is your relationship with Everstream and the arrangement that was negotiated with them way back when. So I don't hear much from them. I don't see them or talk to them through the chair. How is Everstream doing? You must be in some kind of communication with them on a regular basis. How are things over there? How are they feeling?
Through the chair as a councilman, fine. I mean, it's nothing that nothing to complain about. I mean, the access to their data center has been incredibly helpful. We are now paying on the fiber strands. Before those were free. Now some of them still are based on that existing agreement, but you know they're at market rate. So at this point, our relationship with Everstream is probably the same as all of our other technology partners that we work with. We have a good one with them.
Okay. Last, I'll close out. I'm looking forward to hosting you guys in Old Brooklyn at the July monthly ward meeting on the second Wednesday of July. Ms. Miller helped us arrange that, and I'm excited to bring you guys in and have you share with the residents of Old Brooklyn what kind of services you're offering. 25% of my neighborhood does live under the poverty level, and that's 50% for children. So there's a lot of folks there that certainly need access to an affordable, high-quality internet access. So I'm excited to bring you guys. In the height of summer, it'll be a busy, busy month. I'm sure July is probably one where you guys run ragged, but I'm looking forward to bringing you guys into Estherbrook in July. And thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm all done.
All right, thank you. So Ward 11 went from 0 to 26, Ward 13, 0 to 22, Ward 16, 0 to 12, and 17, 0 to 4. Are you telling us that the 26, the 22, the 12, and the 4 are all new customers who did not have internet access prior to Digital C coming in and being able to provide it?
To the chair, either they did not have internet access or they were in the Affordable Connectivity Program.
Okay, all right. Anybody else have any other questions? We appreciate you. You're slightly under the goal just for Q1, but it's Q1, so we understand. So I think that you guys will be fine this year. And again, Ricardo, we thank your team for the audit and doing that. And do you guys have any questions for us? Good? Yes, no?
No, we're good. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Thank you very much for coming down. We appreciate it. This time, the Utilities Committee is adjourned until the call of the chair.
Thank you.